Hi everyone, Ryan here with Fight Game Analysis, and today we're going to be talking about the upcoming fight between Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. If you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and click on the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support. Alright, so UFC 263 co-main event, huge fight coming up for the division. Deiveson Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno. Now this is a rematch. We saw their first one just a few months ago. Amazing fight in the night, instant candidate for fight of the year. I mean, everybody knew when you had that outcome. How can you not have a rematch? I mean, this was just a great fight, and it ends in an incredibly unsatisfying way. That's how it always is when you don't get something that's decisive. That first fight was something special, though. I mean, it was highly hyped going into this fight. Going into that first fight, we had the champion out there doing great stuff. We had Moreno coming up looking amazing, and it went in there, and they both absolutely delivered. Think about it. From the first round, you had Deiveson coming out there and acting exactly like you would expect him to. Right? He's a big puncher coming out there looking to finish the fight early in dramatic fashion, throwing shots with everything into it. He's being aggressive. He's walking him down. Moreno's got that great long jab. He's trying to hold him off. Figueiredo's countering over the top, landing big stuff. I mean, it looked like Moreno got caught off guard at first. Like he didn't expect that intensity out of Figueiredo. And for like the first minute and a half, he was kind of trying to figure out his way, trying to get his footing, so to speak, right? Understand the speed and the distance and how things were going. And, obviously eventually he did and started to do some great work of his own. Man, going into think about it. Championship fight going into the last round. We still were unsure of how things were going to turn out. We had the point deduction from the low blow and stuff. I mean, awesome fight. So here we are just a few months later and we're getting the rematch. We'll talk about the champ, Deiveson Figueiredo now. First and foremost, you think about this guy. That man is a puncher. Right now, there's a lot of people who can punch hard. Then there's a very select few who have actual, real, true, natural punching power. That type of one-punch power that can just turn a man's lights out. That's what he's got. But then on top of that, he carries himself like he knows when he goes into the octagon that it's just a matter of time before he connects and just absolutely destroys you. Right? There's not everybody carries themselves like a true big puncher. He's one of them. So anytime you go in there, you automatically got to think about that. He's got that big right hand. Now, he can do more than just land the big right hand. He works the jab well. I mean, think about that jab, speaking about it. I mean, we saw him use it good in a lot of fights, whether it was against Benavidez, Elliott, whatever. But in his last fight against Moreno, he's still continuing to progress. I mean, the way he used that jab in that fight, it was almost landing like a straight right hand. I mean, it was coming out there like he was just, sticking Moreno in the face with a telephone pole or something, man. I mean, it was good. Snapping his head back. He's got a great timing with it. He's able to catch you when you don't think it's coming. I mean, Moreno's got a good high guard. Figueiredo was still able to get that jab off. And speaking of the right hand, let's go back to that for a second. I mean, I love the fact of how aggressive he is. He comes forward, he uses that right hand, he lands these big power shots. But it's not just about being aggressive, trying to throw that right hand as many times as he can and land. He's also got the ability to set traps with it. He can counter with it, right? It's one of the things that I loved about his first fight with Benavidez. He comes out there, he's pressing a little bit. You can look, he set some traps, faked like he was going to close the distance, used some feints, drew the action out from Benavidez, and then was able to counter with that right hand and just land some punishing shots before eventually getting him out of there. You go to the second fight, he just closed the distance hard, caught him, sat him down. I mean, he can do a lot of things. Think about when he switches to southpaw and he lands that kick to the body. I mean, there's tremendous power in that. I mean, Figueiredo is an awesome striker and he can do a lot. I'm not going to say he's got every single strike available to him. He's not. The kicks that he does use are real powerful. They're vicious, but he's not exactly. He doesn't exactly have like a huge variety in his kicking game. But what he does use is very good. And then you think about, okay, what about his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Not really a wrestler, doesn't exactly look to take the fight to the ground. But if he hurts you and it goes to the ground and he's got his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I mean, it's slick. We've seen him take the back, lock up some really good strangles. And he does it, and he does it well. Fights off hand fighting, understands position, lands some good shots and everything. When he's on his back, well, think about that. Now, that's a little bit of a different story. We saw Moreno take him down a couple times. Think about the last time he had trouble in a fight against Formiga. Why did he have trouble? Yeah, I think he was worried about the leg kicks from Formiga, but he was also worried about getting taken down, which eventually happened. He had his hands in his pockets, wasn't quite as aggressive, got taken down and held there. Same thing we saw against Moreno. He doesn't take a lot of damage when he's on his back. He kind of lands some good shots. Makes me think about like the way Bisping was against GSP, right? He's on his back. He's landing some good punches here and there. Again, understands position, so he doesn't, he doesn't get beat up. But he's not necessarily, some huge submission threat off of his back. But he is going to be able to get up. Like, he can get to the fence. He knows how to get up well. Again, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. The man is no slouch. It's something to consider in this fight. Moreno decides to take him down again. I think he scored, 3 takedowns in that last fight? Every time he took him down, he was able to hold him there for a little while. Definitely contributed towards the rounds that Moreno won. That's something that Figueiredo needs to think about. He's not going to go in there and go for any takedowns. But if he gets taken down, how good's his takedown defense? How quick can he get back up? Things like that. All right. And then on the other side of the equation, we've got Brandon Moreno. I'll tell you what I love about Moreno, man. It's his boxing. His boxing is crisp. You look at, let's just look at that last fight against the champ Figueiredo, a man who's got tremendous power. And Moreno showed no problems at all with standing right in the pocket and going to what he uses best, which is his boxing. He was able to parry shots and land good counters. He's got a great long jab that he was sticking out there to measure distance. He was he was controlling the gap very well, even though he was the counterpuncher, which shows you the kind of skill level he has. He was backing up just a little half step every time Figueiredo was coming forward, keeping the exact distance that he wanted, so that when making Figueiredo cover a little bit more distance that he wanted when he wanted to close the gap, which gives him that little bit of extra time that he needs to land the counters. When he did come inside, he had a nasty left hook to the body that he was landing. That's one of the things that you see in boxing that you don't see really in MMA that much, is that left hook to the body. Typically in MMA, when guys like to go to the body, they'll go with like a straight right or something like that. But Moreno, he was going up, down and up with it, landing the left hook to the body, bringing it upstairs with a left hook up top. He was landing great shots, understands angle, circling out, countering. He was also being aggressive when he needed to. Really liked it. When he found himself in trouble, he used some good takedowns. Wrestling isn't his strong suit. It's not like he's going to come out there and that's going to be his game plan over the course of a 5-round fight. However, to be able to mix it up well, to be able to take a guy down when you want to, that's really important. And he showed it in that last fight. He was able to go out there. He was able to land 2-3 takedowns. Guaranteed that contributed towards him winning the rounds. I wouldn't be surprised if that was a part of his plan this time. Both of those men showed that they've got really good cardio, because that fight was at a hectic pace, landing intense shots the whole time on each other, throwing with full power. And neither one, they slowed down a little bit. Sure, you're going to get tired, but neither man gassed out like that. So the question is, what's it going to look like when these two step in the octagon for their rematch at UFC 263? So first of all, I think it's going to be an awesome fight. We've got everything in our recipe. We've got everything that it takes to have another tremendous fight. Now, will it exactly be like the last one? Come on, we can't be greedy. We're asking too much if we look for that, right? That fight was just insane. But I do think this is going to be a good one. Both these men show up to fight. Neither one of them like to sit and look at their work, sit and look at each other in the mirror, anything like that. I do think they're both going to show up. We know Figueiredo's got the power advantage. And we know that he's also got the really high skill level. But that's not backing Moreno off at all. He excels at counterpunching. He's comfortable in the pocket. So I think we're going to see a lot of that same back and forth that we saw last time. I think we'll see Figueiredo shine a little bit early. That's his thing, man. He comes out strong. Moreno will probably lay back and try to gauge the distance and the timing and the rhythm a little bit while starting to land his counter shots. I think Moreno's going to end up going to the takedowns probably a little bit more than last time. If you look, there's only 2 people who've given Figueiredo trouble. You've got the loss to Formiga, and then you've got the last fight with Moreno. Both of those fights involve takedowns. If you can get Figueiredo on his back, obviously his power isn't nearly something that you have to worry about like when he's on his feet. So I think that's going to be part of Moreno's game plan in this fight. I think he's going to be able to go out there. I think he lands a couple of those takedowns. It's going to throw off Figueiredo's rhythm. It's going to be able to win the round for Moreno when he gets him down. I think that's going to work good. One of the other things that I want to mention is in that first fight was the low blow. You look and you say, oh, well, if it wouldn't have been for that point that got deducted from Figueiredo for that low blow, he would have won on the scorecards. You're correct. But what about the residual effects from that low blow? Man, that was a nasty one. Moreno was balled up on the mat. He was coughing. He spit up blood. Like, that was a bad low blow. Not all low blows are equal, and that was an ugly one. So who's to say how that affected him for the rest of that round and then the fourth and the fifth? Because that happened in the third round. What would he have been able to do if he wouldn't have been compromised by that kick? So I'm actually going with the underdog in this one. I'm going to take the upset. I think Brandon Moreno is going to figure out a way to pull this out. I think with his crisp boxing, I think he's going to be able to figure out a way to land those counters and maintain the distance. I think he's been able to get takedowns when he needs to. He showed he's got a great chin. He was able to absorb everything the champion threw at him. I think this one is going to go the distance. It's hard to see a finish coming from him, but make no mistake about it. I mean, Deiveson Figueiredo can come out there. He can throw hard. He's got tremendous power. He can knock a man out at any time. One of the things I'm a little bit concerned about is all those shots that Moreno took in that first fight. I mean, it was just a few months ago. How's his durability going to hold up? We saw that, the fight that I think about is Stipe. He goes in with that first fight against Francis Ngannou, takes all those shots, withstands it, wins the fight. But then he goes against DC and gets clipped with that little right hand in the clinch or coming out of the clinch and gets dropped. Takes a little bit of time off, comes back, his resilience is better, he's fine in the rematch with DC. Is that what we're going to see here? Because Deiveson Figueiredo, man, is a puncher. He comes in big. Who knows? He's all of, who knows, 145, 150 pounds on fight night. Coming in there and he landed big shots in that first fight. Now, is that going to have a residual effect? Is that going to affect Moreno going into this fight and eventually he gets clipped and gets out of there early, first round, second round? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked. Man, Deiveson Figueiredo can do that to anybody at any time during the fight. He not only punches hard early, he carries his power late, I believe. We haven't seen late knockouts from him, but with the way he throws and the way Moreno was acting late, I believe he carries that power late. So it's something that you always got to be concerned about. But, outside of that, I think Moreno figures out a way to take this one. Highly skilled fighter. Really like that beautiful counter punching. And I think when he mixes in the takedowns, we're going to see him come away with the victory and new. Let me know what you guys think. Who's going to be able to come away with the victory on this one? Is it going to be a defense for the champ? Or does Moreno come away with the belt?